Value stream mapping is a great tool. It is also called as a lean tool in which we are documenting every step in the processes. The process in which we are going to identify the waste and we are going to eliminate that in a systematic way. Many lean practitioners see VSM as a fundamental tool to identify the waste from their processes. Now, what is a waste? There are total 8 types of waste, right? So that is explained by the Muda, and how we are going to reduce that to improve the process cycle time, to improve the lead time, and implement other process improvements. Value stream mapping is a workplace efficiency tool, if you want to summarize it, which is designed to combine the material processing steps with information flow. So this is a combination of both material flow and information flow, along with other important related data. That is, what is the cycle time, what is the changeover time, and other important things that we are going to discuss about this. Now, when we are going to discuss about which is the great level of VSM to start with. So there are 3 levels of VSM depending on what is your scope for this value stream mapping. The first level is called as a high level, or it is also called as extended level. In statistical word, we can say it is as a 60,000 feet view, in which we are going to consider, or the scope is the multiple plants, multiple customers, multiple suppliers that we are going to take into consideration. So this is called as an extended level or 60,000 feet level of value stream mapping. The second level is a 30,000 feet. It is also called as a facility level, in which we are going to consider one organization for the study. This is the best point to start with. Why so? Because this is giving you the clarity and scope for the improvement very easily. If you want to see the results, we are getting the very effective results when we are going to start with this facility level map. The third one is called as a process level value stream mapping, in which we are going to focus only on typical product or process or particular department or function. This is also called as the 10,000 feet value stream mapping. Now, after understanding what is this value stream mapping and what are the different levels of it, which is a great level to start with, now let's go into the detail and understand about what kind of preparation that we need to do while we are going to perform this value stream mapping. So there are multiple steps, and we are going to understand this approach in stepwise implementation so that you can implement or you can conduct the value stream mapping very effectively into your organization. So the step one, we can call it as a preparation phase. Form a team to create the lean value stream map. Now there are very interesting questions are coming, like what should be the team size, how we should form the team, who should involve into that team when we are going to perform the value stream mapping. So here is the answer of all those questions. When you are going to conduct the value stream mapping, ideally the team must be cross-functional team. This cross-functional team must be have the members from the different functions or the departments who are critical as a part of the process that we are going to improve. Cross-functional team of high-level managers and supervisors from throughout your company, which represents the multiple departments such as sales, customer service, your production, inventory, operations, quality, logistics, and all and everyone who are getting impacted by this value stream mapping. Consider also adding important suppliers to this group, because an outside perspective can be helpful. Sometimes if you're thinking like customer needs to be added, you can consider that as well. But ideal size for the conducting this value stream mapping should be between 5 to 7 members, not more than that. If it is a critical process and the scope is bigger, you can consider that extending up to the 10 members. But don't take the more than 10 members, because we will be having the too many voices and it is helping the effective implementation of the value stream mapping. Now, if you go into the more detail and understand this preparation part, before to go into the value stream mapping, we also need to give or conduct some kind of training for each and everyone who are involved into this value stream mapping exercise. The critical step is about the Kaizen event. We can call it as a Kaizen kickoff for the VSM planning. Here we need to define what is the process or the product on which we are going to introduce or on which we are going to conduct this value stream mapping. We are going to draw the current state map. We are going to determine and we are going to draw the future state map by analyzing the current state map and deciding the action plan. And then we will be having the draft plan to arrive at the future state. Typically, it is a 3-day event in which we are going to do this entire planning. The day one consists of we are going to provide the training to each and everyone about what is a value stream mapping, what is the process for it. Like just now, we are going to conduct one training, determine what are the various process families, and thereby we are going to conclude one process or one product on which we are going to introduce this value stream mapping. We need to walk the flow and gather the information. So when we are going to gather this information must be as it is. We are not going to manipulate anything. There are two different things. One is how it should be and how it is working. So we need to plot, we need to collect the data, how it is working into the real life. The day two, on day two, we are going to draw the current state map, perform the lean concepts training to all participants. So when we are going to perform the, or when we are going to analyze the current state and defining the improvement opportunities, everyone in the group must be known, okay, this is a waste and we can initiate some action on that so that we can eliminate that typical kind of waste from our process. On the day three, we need to create the future state map based on the improvement opportunities that we have identified. So this is the approach and preparation, right? Now, when we go for the actual execution of it into the real life, then the first step is we need to identify the product or the process for mapping. For which product, for which process, we are going to conduct this value stream mapping. So that's the important step here. And that is going to start with the process family. How we are going to define or how we are going to identify the product or process for the mapping. This is based on the process family. Now, what is process family? A process family, also known as a product family, is a group of product or services that go through the same or similar processing steps. You can see here, there is a list of products that is mentioned here onto the first column. In front of that, we are going to add what is a volume or what is a quantity or what is the amount of deliverables that we will be getting from that particular product. And then for that particular product, what are the processes that we are going to perform? So we can see that at the first row, at the top first row, you can see that all the processes are mentioned. Now, when the typical product or any product is undergoing for that particular process, we are going to mark that as X. That means this product is going for this process. So similarly, we need to conduct this exercise for all these products, all the services that we are going to provide for all the operations or processes through which they are going through. After adding this all the or marking for all the products for which processes they are undergo, then we need to identify the similarities. Examine the matrix and look for sections that have similar or identical processing steps. Also look for sections that share around 80% of the steps. Consider items that share many of the same steps or procedure that can be created together by the same workers using the similar or related steps, more efficiency in a manufacturing cell, etc., etc. Right? So we need to identify the categories which are going through the products or services that are going through the similar step. And based on that, we are going to identify the product family. We can also call it as a process family. Now, we can also have the multiple triggers for it. Like we can think about, we can ask the like, what is the biggest bang for the buck? So which is the biggest constraint for you? So you can select that particular product family to start the implementation of VSM. We can see the largest reduction in the lead time, which is the more pain area for you, and we need to work on it. Biggest impact to the customer, highest probability for success, most visible to the stakeholders, new product or service that you are going to start, or the product or service which is having the highest value. So that when you are going to work on that particular product or service, you will get the highest impact on your bottom line, right? So these are the various things by which, by considering that, you can decide on which product family you are going to start the work. Now, the next step, once you identify which product or which process you are going to work, then the next question comes in creation of the current state. So we need to understand the current state, how this process or service is performing. So that is called as a step number 2, understand the current state. Here we are going to create the current state map, collect the data and information by walking the flow and interviewing the people who perform the task. So this exercise we need to perform by walking the flow. It is not just like that we are going to look into the data which is available into the system, but we are walking through the flow and we are going to collect the data for it. The team will have the opportunity to see the entire process and look for waste. So this is the most important reason for which you must walk the flow and you must collect the data. The people who actually perform the work, example, operators, assemblers, technicians, and other people can answer the questions and clarify any misconceptions or predetermined thinking on how tasks are performed. So because of these two reasons, we must walk the flow and we must collect the information. Get the information including cycle times or processing time, changeover time, reliability of the equipment, first pass yield, quantities, hard copy information, etc. that is available. Now the question that is coming in your mind when you are going to collect this data, that data might not be the 100% correct, but that's absolutely fine. Even if the data is having the, I can say the 90% of the accuracy, you can collect that data. We can verify the fact later, but just consider or note down all the data that you are getting as it is, right? That is the current state. These are the various symbols that we can use. Maybe I can share you the in details, like what are the various tools, what are the various symbols that we are going to use into the VSM. We will see one of the example in that you will get the more clarity on that. Once you identify this, the next step is we need to put that entire data systematically into the current state, and we need to do the analysis of it. And for that purpose, we need to use the VSM template. We need to begin drawing the value stream mapping. So there are 4 important areas that we need to add on that. The first one is upper right corner. Specifically, that is designed, or we need to put there is a customer information. The upper left corner is for the supplier information. There are 2 hubs. The first hub, that is a top hub that we are going to use for the information, and the bottom half of the paper that we are going to use for the material or product flow. We can see that one example into the next slide. The cutters on the top and bottom to circulate value-added and non-value-added activities. So whether that particular activity that we are going to perform is a value-added activity or non-value-added activity, for that purpose, we are going to use the cutter at the bottom of the paper. Let me show you the example here. You can see here, right? So the upper right corner where we are having the entire customer information, we can see customer A and customer B, and the monthly forecast is coming to our production control. The same information, the plan is then it is sent to the suppliers. That you can see the upper left corner is for the supplier information. If you are going to divide the paper into the 2 halves, then upper half we can see clearly there is a electronic information, right? There is information that is flowing, and into the bottom half we can see there is a material flow or the product flow that you can clearly see. At the bottom of the page, we can see there is a up and down charts, up and down bar is recorded, right? So that is indicating that value-added activities and non-value-added activities. At the end of it, we can write it down what is the total lead time and what is the value-added time. Based on that, we can also calculate the process cycle efficiency. Process cycle efficiency is the ratio of value-added time divided by the total time, right? So based on that, we can identify how much efficiency that our process is having. This is called as analysis of the value stream mapping. Well, analysis of the current state of the value stream map. Then we need to design the future state. Now, when we are going to design the future state, we need to ask the multiple questions here. And as I said, we already formed the cross-functional team, which involves each and everyone from the different functions, different areas, like including the production, then quality, then we can say the stores, logistics, right? So if maintenance, from every area, we are having the representatives, and there we are going to identify the area for improvement. So here are some of the questions that we can use. Like the first question we can have, what is the takt time? Takt time is simply the ratio of available time divided by the demand. So based on that, we can see that what should be our cycle time so that we can meet the customer demand. So we need to check whether our takt time is in line with the customer requirement or not. If it is not, we need to focus on that. Second, we can ask for the are there any bottlenecks or constraints? What is a bottlenecks? Bottlenecks is the weakest element into our entire process. So which is maybe having the higher lead time or higher cycle time, more rework, right? So we need to focus on that. We can ask that when we are going to work on this, is there any place where we can reduce the inventory or we can create the supermarkets? Is there an opportunity where we can improve the flow? So these are the questions that we need to ask. Based on that, we can also look for the area for improvements and we need to mark that with this Kaizen burst. So Kaizen burst is indicating this symbol or the step at which we need to do some kind of improvement. Like we can think about the improvement of reliability of the equipment. We can improve the first pass yield of the equipment or the particular product. Is there the requirement of a training related to the 5S or other things? And does a new layout for an area need to be created? So multiple ideas that can be coming when we are going to discuss about the future state to eliminate the waste from our processes. On the VSM, place a Kaizen burst around any item to signal improvement is needed at that particular point of time. Once you have done this, then all these improvements that we need to add into the action plan. So we need to create the action plan for the future state. So which talks about what is the action that we are going to execute, when we are going to start the execution, what is a plan date, who is going to execute that, and what is the current status of it. We can also prioritize this implementation based on the impact and effort matrix. So what is the impact and effort matrix? If you can see there is an action which is need the low effort but the impact is high. So that is the thing that we need to prioritize first. So this prioritization needs to be done so that we can execute the high priority, high impact item first. Right? So this is about the development of action plan. Then when we are going to execute that actions into the real life, we also need to focus on that, whether that activity is giving you the meaningful results or not. So that is calling about implementation and monitoring the changes. If you can see that after execution, the particular activity, you can see there is a significant improvement into the process or product performance, then we are going into the correct direction, right? So this is very important. Here it is one of the example that we can clearly see that upper right corner which talks about the information from the customer. The customer is going to send us the information. And there is a production control department who is going to process that information. And there are two parts. One part is going to the supplier based on what is a raw material that we require. And the second information is going to the respective machines or respective processing units, at how much quantity and when we are going to produce that. So that will be going to this. Now this is for the manufacturing industry. If it's for the service industry, then it is going through the multiple stations or service centers to explaining which process or which service we need to provide next, right? So based on the availability of the input from the suppliers, then this process will be continued. Now you can see at each of the station, you are going to also record all the details of it, like what is the changeover time, what is the cycle time, right? And is there any constraint, like how many number of operators are working there? So everything information we need to write it down. We can also see at the bottom there is a value added and non-value added time which is recorded. At the end of this, we can also calculate what is the process cycle efficiency, right? Once it is done, it is not an end. Please remember that value stream mapping is not a one-time exercise. It's not like that we just conduct the value stream mapping at one point and your process will be lean process. Now let me tell you that what is a lean process first. Lean process is a process in which we are having the value added time at least 25% of the total time, total lead time, right? But in reality, we can see that we are having the very low process cycle efficiency, around 3%, 4%, 5%, and up to 7, 8, 9%. Right? Now, if you want to improve that, we need to go through the multiple cycles of this value stream mapping. And after that, we are going to reach to the lean process. Right? So it's not so easy, and it's going to be done into the one atom. So we can see here, we need to consistently work on that. We need to continuously improve by using this value stream mapping. You can see here, ideally, we need to complete this exercise at least once in a year, or your process is smaller, we can conduct that once in a quarter or once in 6 months, so that we can have the continuous improvement of our processes. Right? If you're having any questions, please put that into the comment box, and I'm going to take all your questions. Now, at the end of this today's session, today training, if you want to learn Lean Six Sigma most effectively and practically, you can just click on this link, vijayasabe.co/challenge. Go through the entire details of this Lean Six Sigma green belt and black belt, and how this 90-day challenge is going to be worked. If you need more help, more clarity on that, if you want to discuss with me personally, just click on the link on this. Just use the link at this web page, so that you can schedule a free call with me. Okay, great. So thank you so much for your valuable time. And if you are having any questions, you can also add into the comment section after the end of this live stream as well. And I'm going to answer all your questions. Great. Thank you so much, and see you in the next live stream.